Dear brothers and sisters, viewers of CYC channel, welcome back to another episode of Healthy Family. We're continuing with exploring the children in the first 2 years of their life, and we're talking about different areas of growth for them. Today, by the grace of God, we'll continue with moral growth, what happens in their morality at that time. Okay? And the moral growth can be summarized in very simple fact. If we look at the child who is from birth to 24 months, meaning the first 2 years of life, as a 24-hour audio-visual recording unit, recording everything that happens around him or her. Although some people think the child is not capable of talking in the first year, he will not or she will not understand, but they sense what's happening. So if dad and mom are fighting, the child understands there is tension, there is an exchange of anger. Although he might not understand the language, he will perceive that from the facial expression and the tone of voice that's high. It is a recording unit for everything that happens around him in the environment. Children learn by identification. Identification is a specific word in psychology where there is an imitation of the adults around the child. We have a beautiful picture here of a young girl who is imitating mom by wearing her shoes, high-heeled shoes. It doesn't fit her, but she is doing whatever she sees mama is doing. The same for the boy child. We see lots of children at the age of 2 imitating that they are shaving, although they have nothing to shave, but they see dad is doing that. So the parents are a good role model to identify with, whether negative or positive. The second year is, we call that the no stage. The child in the first year was totally passive. There is no communication. The linguistic capabilities were very limited. But now, between 12 months to 24 months, the child has acquired some linguistic skills. And now he or she is establishing his identity. This is why we call that the no stage, meaning you ask Mike, the little boy, Mike, can you do that? No. Mary, please go on. No. And sometimes no is being said without understanding the question. The child is announcing to the world, now I'm not a passive baby anymore. You can put me in the crib and leave me for hours. No, I have an identity. I have a personality. I can say no, sometimes even without understanding. It should not disturb or alarm us, but this is a developmental phase that's temporary. The child is exercising his linguistic capabilities that he's happy that he has acquired. Parenting skill for this developmental phase, we'll talk about few steps, and that will end the first 2 years of life. So God willing, next time we'll go to the kindergarten period, 3 years to 5 years. What should parents or Sunday school teachers do for this phase? Number 1, no long separation from the maternal figure. The psychological research found that if the child is taken away from the maternal figure for a long time, that leads to much disturbance as an adult. A maternal figure, not necessarily the mother, because the mother can be not available for sickness, or God forbid, if the mother departs in labor, or not available for the family, or busy at work. But if we have a maternal figure, can be a grandma, an auntie, who is taking care of the child, we don't get concerned much about the psychological and the spiritual health of the child. But if there is no maternal figure, we expect much problems later on for the child as an adult. Another point is the 3 church sacraments that the church provide for the children at that time in the first 2 years. We can talk about the sacrament of communion and Maroon and charismation. The children are not prevented from enjoying the sacraments of the church, although they don't have the mental capacity to understand, but the church does not deprive them of these three blessings and the sacraments. The church anxiety is a phenomenon that we can all experience. When the child attends the liturgy, there is some anxiety inside the child. And this is why in some churches they have the cry room, a separate room with a glass wall where the mother can attend with the child and participate in the liturgy without the child disturbing the other members of the congregation. Why the church anxiety happens? Because for the child, he is little in size and surrounded by big, giant people in size. And these people, sometimes they stand up, and sometimes they sit down, and sometimes they kneel. Also, he doesn't know what's happening in the front. There are crowd in the front, the deacons and the abuna. Sometimes the abuna is talking by himself, and sometimes there is a response from the deacon, and sometimes there is a response from the congregation. Also, the child listens to some musical instruments and some languages. Sometimes the language can be Coptic, English, Arabic, French, and this changes and the crowdiness creates an atmosphere of anxiety. This is why if the child is crying, we can understand his or her perspective. This is why in some churches the cry room is a good solution if there is enough real estate or space for it. God is love, and this is important to demonstrate from the parents the love to the child, because the child, when he grows up or she grows up and learns Abana Lazi, our Father, he is going to stand up and say, our Father who is in heaven. If the father figure in the child's life has been absent or harsh, absent meaning not involved, or harsh meaning punitive, the child will suffer as an adult spiritually. Why? Because if the father image on earth has been that absent or harsh, the child will not be able to conclude that the Heavenly Father is comforting and merciful and understanding. So the father connection to the child is very important in the first 2 years for the child to grow spiritually and psychologically healthy. The scholar Tertullian said a golden statement. He said, children are made, not born. Are made, not born. He meant the personality of the child is being modified and molded by the environmental factors around him. This is why, as parents, as Sunday school servants, as youth servants, we have a big responsibility to identify with them and model for them the Christian behavior. St. John Chrysostom said a beautiful statement, and we'll end our episode today with this one. St. John Chrysostom departed in the year 407 AD. He said, children are given to us like a clay given to a potter. Our job is to mold out of the clay a statue in his likeness. In other words, my job as a parent or a counselor or a Sunday school teacher is to modify the personality of the child to imitate divine attributes. How can I do that? By manifesting it myself. So when the child sees it in me, as a father, as a mother, as a servant, he can identify with these and will give him the impression that you yourself, as a child, can be also a healthy Christian person later on. And by doing that, we can establish healthy families. And that brings us to the end of the first 2 years of life, the infancy period. And God willing, next episode, we'll talk about the kindergarten period. This is age 3 years to 5 years. So till then, peace to you.